Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to the podcast again, mic'd up with PK. We've been missing in action for a bit, but yeah, we're back with a very interesting guest. Marrina, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I want to get straight into it. I want to know a bit about you. Who is Marrina?
Okay, so I'm Marrina. I was born in Lusaka, Zambia.
Yeah.
I spent my early childhood there, and then I moved to the UK when I was about 10, 11.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pretty much grew up here for my schooling, university. But I've tried to maintain my culture, and I still have a lot of family back in Zambia, so I also travel back a lot. And and now I'm a published author, and my career's here.
Obviously, as a young person who's 10, you're not thinking so much about the impact that the move has on you, or maybe you're not observing society so much. But when you moved, do you remember some of the things that you noticed that were different, like from the times you had spent in Zambia to moving to the UK?
Yeah, I think for me, the move was a very different move because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
So when I moved, I was already going through a lot emotionally.
Yeah. What was happening at the time?
So at the time, I had lost my father and I became an orphan. So when I moved, it was to a new family in a new country, away from everything I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was a big change in itself. So it was difficult, to say the least, but it was a big culture shock. Coming from an African country to a Western world was a lot for a 10-year-old to absorb. And we moved to Northern Ireland, so they weren't very accepting at that time for people of colour, diversity. Yeah. So it was a hard start. So that first year for me was very difficult. I was treated differently, and I got bullied in school, so it was very hard. I got bullied for being different. I got bullied for the way I spoke because I had a heavy Zambian accent when I came. Yeah. And I was a lot darker than I am now when I arrived, and I used to wear my hair natural, so I got bullied for having afro hair. It was a very difficult time. At the same time, I was also still processing my father's death, still grieving, and still trying to understand and also learn and adapt to, a different world. And completely different weather. Yeah. So it was the first time I saw snow. It was the first time I was like in the cold. Yeah. So it was an adjustment. Yeah.
So with the bullying that happened, did it mostly happen at school, or was it like back home when playing with other kids?
So it was mainly in school. Yeah. It was all pretty much school. We lived quite close to the school. But my uncle and aunt who adopted me, my uncle was in the army, so we lived in military housing. Yeah. So everybody was different. So we where we lived. So when we were home, we were safe. We were around people that we knew, the families knew. So it was just mainly at school.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember any specific instances of what was actually happening?
Not a lot. From what I remember, I sometimes used to eat my lunch in the toilet to kind of run away from it all.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I used to get bullied in like the canteen area, like in class. Like you'd come into class, people would move your chair, or like your chair's not there, or and that sort of thing. And and I used to hate going to the canteen because then it's even worse. So sometimes I'll just eat in the toilet to kind of like hide. So
But were you reporting this? What were the teachers doing about it? Did they do anything about it?
Yeah, this was reported, but again, it's more the mindset. And I think for people who've been to Northern Ireland understand the issues in Northern Ireland, which are still bad even now. You know, my aunt and uncle had been to the principal's office a few times.
Yeah.
And they just basically tried to say it was me making the issues and the problems to myself. Which obviously wasn't true, and my aunt and uncle didn't agree with that. They tried to fight it. So in the end, they just moved us out the school and moved us into England. And and we started boarding school, which was a better experience. And it shaped the rest of my future really after that.
Oh, nice. So you say when you moved to England, the kids treated you better?
Yeah, so when I moved to England, we went straight to boarding school where two of my cousins were already at that school.
Yeah. What year were you doing to go into boarding?
I don't even know, because in boarding school here we don't have years, so it's not like...
Oh, right.
I can't remember what year it was. So
okay.
I don't know, whatever year, 11 year olds go into. So so I went to that school, and obviously boarding, it's got huge diversity because you have people from China, you have people from Russia, you have other Africans there. So it was and then obviously all the English and so I felt more at home.
Cool.
Yeah.
So growing up, what did you then get into? Like when you were done with school, did you get into college, university?
So I was in boarding, so that was the first school. And then I moved into the college, which was in a different town, different city. And then did my senior school in Bath, and then I went to university. So I went to university here in London.
Okay. Well, what did you study?
So for my first degree, I studied psychology and counselling.
Okay.
At Roehampton.
Okay. What was the interest? Why psychology? Was that your first choice?
It's interesting you asked that, because I actually first applied to do economics.
Okay.
And
the jump.
I don't know. I think I was still at a point where I was exploring a lot of different things, and I don't know, when I was in sixth form, part of me just wanted to understand people and I don't know, there was a big curiosity because of other personal things I was going through with my family about wanting to understand people, what makes people tick, like why do people do certain things or, like even just understanding myself better as well, like why am I the way I am, like, and understanding like how I want to progress in life. And so going into psychology was more for my learning as opposed to like career, if that makes sense. It was more just curiosity more than, I don't know, I think I got to the point where with economics I kind of knew what to get out of it, and I was already doing it for A-levels, so for me it was more, I kind of just want, if I'm going to go study, I want to do something where I do something I'm really interested in and kind of just understand things in life more.
But when you were growing up, did you like fancy any careers specifically?
Yes.
Yeah? What was it?
Well, my career's changed quite a few times when I was younger. So
obviously.
My friends in Zambia always knew me as wanting to be a doctor.
Right.
But when I came here, it was always I wanted to be an actress or I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
It was one of the two. And I think, I was acting up until I went to university. So I studied drama. And at school I did drama, GCSE I did drama A-level.
Okay.
So I was performing regularly anyway. But and it was also my safe space, acting, because it was something I did even in Zambia. So it's something I've done consistently from a young age. But I felt like career-wise, I wasn't sure about the stability aspect of it. And I wanted to have more security in my career. And which is why I didn't go in that direction, and I was doing more economics. But I did also do A-levels in economics as well. yeah, I don't know.
Okay, cool. So you study psychology, and then at some point you get to write this book that you've written about grief. How did you get to this point? What made you decide to write the book?
So in regards to the book, I think I'd been through a lot in my life, and I wanted to understand that better. And I think I got to 2019 and I was going through a lot with my family. And a lot that happened to the point where I started to question who I was because of the things I was going through with my family. And that's when I realized, actually, you know what? I hadn't even processed my childhood trauma, my childhood bereavement. It's almost like I just ran away from it. It's like my parents' deaths happened and I never really spoke about it properly or dealt with it. It was just like I shut it in the back of my head and just got on with life. And I think in 2019 is when I started to realize that, you know, maybe my trauma was starting to affect me in different ways. So I put myself into therapy and started to explore the trauma, you know, that I was going through initially I was starting to explore what I was dealing with my family. And it's the effects it was having on me. And that's when I realized through the therapy, I started to realize that I had a lot of unresolved childhood traumas. And as we were exploring that, I got a better understanding of how it actually been affecting a lot of my adult relationships, not just with family, but with friends, relationships. So that's when I started with the book, and I was kind of the thought of, well, if this is affecting me, then it's clearly affected a lot of other people who've been through childhood trauma. And trauma is something that everybody goes through at some point in their life, whether it doesn't have to be a bereavement, it can be anything from like an emotional response to like a prolonged situation of any kind. So that's when it got me onto the book. And it's like, if we can start to resolve the trauma earlier, people can have healthier relationships later on in life. So it brought me to the book, and I sort of put in my knowledge from psychology and my degree to kind of explore how I wanted the book, and which is what brought me to writing the book the way I did it, because it focuses on three key elements: talking therapy, memories, and art therapy.
Are those like stages of grief?
No, so those are just three key elements of how I've written the book. So we have 7 stages of grief.
Is it the one that is then represented by the different animals that you've put in the book?
Yeah, so each chapter of the book represents each stage of grief. And I've specifically done it that way, and then the animals are tied into that stage. So if you go to the first chapter.
This is disbelief and shock, the lion of strength.
Yeah, so shock is a stage of grief, and it's one of the earliest stages of grief. So when I was choosing the characters, I wanted the characters to align with the stages of grief, and also basically support the child through that stage. So as shock is so hard to come to terms with, it's when a child needs to find their strength or have that strength to face it. So what better way than putting the lion? So you'll find at every stage, the animal has been deliberately picked to represent and comfort the child at that stage. And then you've got the talking therapy, which is where I use more like cognitive behavioral therapy techniques to help the guardian and the child work through the difficult parts of that stage, which, you know, adults struggle to find the right words or even just bring the conversation with the child because they don't know how to deal with it. And the talking therapy stages helps break that tension and also guides the adult to have those conversations to make it easier for them. But also the way I've written it is also to allow the child to open up about what they're really feeling. So the questions are designed to do that. And then we've also got the memories. So memories is an aspect that's still hardly researched to this day, because children are so young.
Like for any research to be carried out on them.
To that extent, yes. So also a big part of that is that when children go through trauma, they tend to block out aspects that are too painful in their brain, and that can be for long stages, and it can actually affect into adult life. So the memories part is where you get the memories down as early as possible with someone, an adult who can guide that memory, so that you don't fill in the blanks of those memories, because what happens is children, when they block out that like an aspect of the memory, they tend to fill the blanks with whatever sounds okay or feels okay, to kind of fill those blanks, which can kind of distort the memory. However, that then becomes the memory for more long term, and then when you grow and you kind of form that as your memory, because memories are the only things we have left of the people we lose. And then when you have that memory, you kind of, that's secured in your brain, like this is my memory. But then when you're older and people start to say, no, you're wrong, that's not what happened, that is more traumatic for the person, because that's what they believed for so many years. So this way with the book, you get the memories down in a way that is accurate, but it can keep you guided on those memories so you can retain them in their freshest form, more long term, and doesn't affect you in the future and be more of a traumatic experience later on.
So are you, I'm trying to understand whether in dealing with grief, you're trying to forget, or you're trying to actually accept what has happened.
So, and a stage of grief is acceptance. So you do have to come to terms with it, and you eventually have to accept it. Some people try not to, but it is part of a journey, and with grief you always do come to a point where you accept it's happened. So acceptance is there, and it is guided in that stage as well. Okay.
So I'm trying to get back to the point where you were actually in therapy. How do you then narrow it down to say, oh, I think what was actually happening is what happened with your childhood? Who figures that out? Is it how you spoken to the therapist, or how does that get figured out?
Well, everybody's different in how it gets figured out. So it depends on your own experiences. But for me, it was doing EMDR, which is a trauma type of therapy, which focuses on your eye movement. And this is normally
Did you say eye?
Yeah, it's a type of EMDR is an eye movement. I can't remember the full word, forgive me, but so it focuses on eye movement. It's more of a trauma type of therapy that is used by therapists. With that, it kind of helps unlock aspects of you that you kind of block out. And through the therapy, I started to remember things that I blocked out for many years, which was in itself very painful to kind of start remembering things. But it's hard to explain how the therapy works, because for me, it's kind of, it just happened. They ask the right questions and it triggers something, and then suddenly you remember something. So that's when I started to remember things I blocked out and
you had actually been through. Okay. I looked it up. It says it's eye movement desensitization and Reprocessing?
Reprocessing, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Reprocessing therapy, yeah.
Are there like any specific memories that you can talk about that you could remember when you were going through therapy?
I don't know. I don't think I want to talk about my experiences.
Okay,
but,
fair enough. Without narrowing down what the specifics of what was happening is, was it how you're relating with your relatives? Is it how you're being treated? I'm just trying to understand something about what you went through.
I don't know, it can be anything. So even things that you may think are small, but for a child isn't small. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, for me, things like, for many years I've worn a mask, or, I become the strongest friend, or, you want to, I think when you've been through so much trauma, you learn to hide when you're really in pain and stuff like that. And I think I got so good at that. So just things as simple as like when my father died, it affected so many people, and it's like, and his funeral I remember was like such a huge funeral. So many people flew in for it. There were a lot of people that knew about me that I never met, and like me and my brother. So it was a lot. So even his funeral, I'm meeting so many new people. It was tough to take on, but one of the biggest things, because it was so big, people then
like you sort of get ignored in the moment because it's like the focus is on the funeral itself, maybe. I don't know.
Not really. I think it was more that people, because we're so young, it's like everybody is like, oh my God, this must be so hard, and the focus becomes more on them. And as children, I don't want to speak for my brother, but for me, I suddenly felt like I had to be strong at the age of 10. I had to be the one that, didn't really show my emotions, because I cry, everybody starts crying. I get upset, everybody felt like they would get upset. So it was almost like I couldn't really show my emotions. Yeah. And so for a child, that is traumatic, because you need to be able to release your emotions. So with that, I blocked a lot out of different things.
With the book so far, have you had any interactions with kids that read the book and their reactions have just been like maybe what you didn't expect or something?
It's been interesting, because the book is very engaging. So I actually finished the book with my son. So it was quite interesting because we talk about emotions. So even for just general emotions, it helps children understand their emotions better. But I did read it to my son's nursery class as soon as it was finished. Yeah. And it was a mixed bag. So some of them just thought it was, a cool story where they talk about their emotions and they loved it. So they were excited. They loved the whole storytelling. And then there was a girl in his class who had just recently lost her grandma, who she lived with. And for her, this kind of, it opened her up a bit, because the nursery said she hadn't really spoken about it, but during the reading, she became very open to talking about her grandma and stuff. And it was nice to see that aspect, and giving her the floor to be able to express it and be comfortable enough to kind of say, yeah, I've gone through that. And obviously her classmates were also talking about their emotions. And even though it wasn't to do with bereavement, they were engaging in their emotions, which I think is so important for children, to be able to talk about their emotions and explore them. And even her mother thanked me for the book, and she's also got the book and works with her daughter with it as well. So,
Oh, cool.
But I've also got mixed feedback, because also it may be a children's book, but I've had my adult friends who had childhood trauma who have found it actually really helpful as well for them. So as much as I wrote for children, I didn't expect it to also work on adults as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, like even I, because initially when you introduced me to the book, I just ordered it on Amazon to send it to my friend's house who has kids, because I didn't think it's the book that I can read. But now when you give me the copy and I read it, I'm like, oh, I actually resonate with so much of what's happening in this book. So I think it's for everyone. We're gonna put a link in the description of the video so that people can get the book. Going back to the time you wrote the book, you said as you were winding up with the writing, your child did help you. Were any other kids involved? Like, did you have conversations with just kids around you to find out what they think? Because I think children's minds are very interesting.
Children's minds are interesting, but I think when I was finalizing the book, I didn't have too many kids around to ask, but you know, I trialed it on my son, tried it on the nursery, and I also spoke to other, like, you know, my brother and other people who had been through what we've been through. I have some other Zambian friends who are orphans as well, and how this would have resonated with their younger self and what they would have needed at that age. And I think that was the biggest focus, because having gone through losing both parents by the age of 10 is something that not everybody goes through. So there's only a select amount of people that can really help with the struggles they've been through and with the book. So I got some help with that, and then when I finished it, I also sent some copies of the PDF version to other specialists just to get their feedback and you know, prior to publishing it.
Another thing I wanted to ask, you essentially did grow up in an African home. Do you think the way households of like an African background deal with these things, it's very different from how things would be dealt with in a family in Europe, in the UK?
Yeah, absolutely. So having grown up in an African household, you'll know this, we I don't know, a lot of the time it's like no one really wants to talk about feelings. It's like, you know, just, I don't know whether it's like a culture thing, but it's like we don't talk about feelings. It's like, you know, that's happened, we move on, you know. But I think in the Western world, they're a lot more open to emotions, but I think child bereavement is still something that's people still struggle with, because people still don't really understand or know how to deal with it. And we do have organizations which help, like you know, Winston Wish, Cruise Bereavement. So we have all these different, and also child bereavement trauma. I think that was set up by the Royals. So we do have all these organizations that do help and guide people, especially in our country now, but it's not, Africa is really behind when it comes to working on the emotional selves of children, especially with bereavement, because, and also I think bereavement is something you see more often in Africa, especially for children. But it's something we just don't, I don't know whether we just don't have the resources, because we see it happen, but I think there needs to be more education there. So.
No, African homes are crazy, because I remember times where you would get bitten for crying. Like, why are you crying?
It's like, stop crying.
Yeah. So with parents that have children that are going through grief, what sort of advice can you give them?
I think my biggest advice is to be patient. To be patient, and also recognize that sometimes grief in children is not going to manifest in the same way as adults. So children can kind of present their grief in being naughty, lashing out, fighting with other kids. And that can be put down like they're just being naughty or, but it's not, depending on the child. You know your child. So my biggest advice is be patient, talk to them, try and be open. And maybe take a breath before, because having kids is hard. And when they're lashing out, having their tantrums, and you think it's just a tantrum and it might be something else and you're not aware of, sometimes just taking that time to just stop, wait, because it's so easy. I'm a parent too. It's so easy to just feel like, and just start shouting. So just take a breath, take a minute, step back, and maybe just think, like, is this normal? Or is there something else behind it?
Can kids actually get therapy? I'm not a parent, so I have no idea.
They can get therapy. So you can have, we do have like peds psychologists, peds therapists.
Of course, the question is not right, because I think your book is one way of dealing with issues. But my question is more like if they can actually go to a professional, speak to a professional like that.
Yeah, they can speak to a professional. So obviously we've got CAMS for mental health that you can always be referred through a GP. And that, I'm not sure of the age that it starts, but it is available for children. Obviously there's a huge waiting time. They're under-resourced. And then we do have pediatric psychologists, psychiatrists. So they are available. Obviously, you can be referred to them, and if you're going through the NHS, it might be a waiting time, but they're much easily available with private health.
So yeah, what's next after this one? Obviously, this one is for like kids. Are we seeing like a teens book or something?
Yeah. So I've had a lot of requests for teens and even for adults. So I've got my work cut out for me. But I'm working on teens and the teens version, because teens' emotions and what they go through is more complex. There will be a female version and a male version. And that's what I'm working on now. But give me time. It's not.
Why do you say a male and a female version? Do you think the emotions are very different, and how they should sort of like deal with things is very different?
It's very different, because with teens, you're going through puberty. And puberty and your hormones are so different from the male to the female at that stage. So with the book, I'm trying to recognize what they're actually going through, and trying to deal with the emotions and the hormones as well, and how the emotions will be affected through the hormones. So so with those books, they are going to be two to kind of help and represent both genders due to what they're going through. But yeah, stay tuned.
So we definitely are going to stay tuned. Looking forward to the next one, whatever comes, as long as it's helping us live better lives. Is there anything that you wanted to say before we close in the last words? And tell us where people can buy. I know the book is on Amazon. Any other platforms where you can get it, or it's mainly on Amazon?
So my book is only on Amazon. I am working on my own website, so it will be available on my own website as well. But in regards to what I'd like to leave everybody with is, if you have been through trauma, everybody's going to work on it in their own time. Don't put pressure on yourself. And, there are resources there to help you when you need them.
And this is one of the resources. Marrina, it's been nice. Thank you very much for coming through. We're definitely going to share a link to the book so that everyone can get it. Trust me, you need this book. When I read it, I was like, wow. Thank you very much for coming through.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for watching. Until another episode, do subscribe. Click that bell notification so that you can be notified each time we post a video. Thank you for watching this episode. Let's bye for now.